We hear a lot about stem cells these days. But what are they? Where do they come from? And what do we really know about them? Inside our bodies, there's a microscopic world, busy and complex like the world around us. Stem cells build and maintain this world. This is a story of stem cells and their lives inside and outside our bodies. Life begins with one cell, the fertilized egg. Throughout development, cells divide over and over again to produce the billions of cells that make up the body. At certain stages, most cells stop making copies of themselves and start to specialize. When we are fully formed, almost all of our cells are specialized.
Cells are very beautiful things when you see them down the microscope. Normally they're so minuscule we can't see them, even though they're what make us all. And each type of cell has its own characteristic. Some types of cell grow together, very closely together, and form beautiful patterns. Other types of cell will move away from one another. Some cells become big, other cells are always very small. It depends on what type of cell they are.
These different cell types work in specialized teams. Some carry oxygen through the blood system. Some do the stretching and contracting in our muscles. Some carry messages between our brain and the rest of our body.
Stem cells are very special cells, and they act as a reservoir, really, because the specialized cells can no longer make copies of themselves. So if they die and get used up, then they have to be replaced from somewhere, and this is where the stem cells function. Stem cells are used in the blood system. We need to make millions of new blood cells every single day, and these are generated from stem cells. And these cells actually live in the bone marrow. Altogether, the blood stem cell can make 8 different types of specialized cell. They're used in the skin. We need to make new skin cells all the time because we're always wearing away our skin. And actually now we know they're present even in the brain.
What we have discovered is called to change the way that I believe that we look at medicine. So I'll let my peers to decide if it's for the Nobel Prize, and I'm probably too young for it right now. But when we talk stem cells, what we need to understand is that contrary to every single cell of the body called somatic cells that will always be what they are, a heart cell will always be a heart cell, a brain cell will always be a brain cell, and will only do what a brain cell does. A stem cell is a cell that has the ability to multiply during the entire life of an individual and to transform into any kind of cell types of the body. It's sort of the master cell of the body.
Now, everybody hears a little bit about stem cells. They're not too sure about it. But you had a lot of scrutiny of people outside, companies, or even the government probably looking into saying, is this guy real? What's going on with it? Is that true? Or?
Of course. I mean, this is such a novel concept. You know, just the basics of it. Still in med school today, we still teach that stem cells from the bone marrow, their role is to become blood cells. And that's essentially what they do. So to say that stem cells from the bone marrow could become other types of cells, just that to begin with is extremely provocative. Now today it's well accepted, but when we started all of this, 6, 7, 8 years ago, yeah, we got criticized a lot. Today I think that we've been vindicated. It's sort of recognized what stem cells do. And about a year ago we did get the scrutiny by a public agency who kind of looked and came and said, you cannot make these kinds of claims because, of course stem cells cannot become cells of other tissues, and your product cannot have an effect on stem cells. And so so they basically said we had to stop making these claims, and we responded by providing all the science that we had. And it was an interesting experience, because at the end of the day, they basically had to come to the conclusion that we had all the science to back up the claims that we're making. And so we basically passed the test with flying colors. Wow. Disease never happened on the day that you have the diagnosis.
Yes.
We're climbing stairs 10 years ago 3 by 3, 5 years ago 2 by 2, 2 years ago 1 by 1, a year ago 1 by 1 slowly, 6 months ago 1 by 1 slowly. I stop in the middle to catch my breath, then I get a heart attack. It didn't start on the day. My heart problems didn't start on the day of the heart attack. Everything is a slow decline. And what we realize is that it declines because of a decline in our ability to repair day to day.
Wow.
So if you support the natural ability of the body to repair, you basically give that ability of the body to maintain its health. So it's really, we're not talking even about disease prevention. What we're talking about is health maintenance.
Wow.
It's a whole new concept, really backed by strong science. We see health by, generally speaking, by protecting ourselves from the outside world, free radicals, you know, and we need to eat a lot of it, consume a lot of antioxidants. We need all the vitamins and the minerals that the body needs, and all of that remains true. But what we have discovered is that we are born with a natural system of repair. Every day of our life, we lose cells, we replace them. Every day of our life. And by discovering this for the first time in our history, we now have a way of not only preventing things from happening, we have now a way of supporting the body in its own natural ability to stay healthy. So in that way, we're really bringing another dimension to health.
What's more important to you, health or wealth?
I mean, it's interesting, because I think that in life, everybody is entitled to the full realization of their potential. The problem is that most people don't do it because of health obstacles or wealth obstacles. So it's both. It's
both?
really
You
both.
can't give one?
I think it's both.
It's both.
I think it's both. And you know, if you don't have wealth and you get health problems, sometimes you can't resolve them. And if you don't have health, then sometimes you have a real obstacles to freely develop your potential to acquire wealth.
Well, I call it a mantra because it summarizes in just a very simple way what's so important about the human body. Everybody has stem cells. Everybody uses stem cells. Everybody uses stem cells every day. And stem cells work, and they work every time. Well, first you have to understand what stem cells do. This is physiology at work. This is nature at its best. In fact, if you think of it, how did we survive? How do human beings manage day in and day out to survive? Because all the cells in our body are constantly dying. We put up a good fight, we have an immune system, we have all types of defenses in the body to protect us. But eventually, the cells die. So we have to literally restore, rebuild, replace, replenish those cells. And so the repair mechanism must of necessity be there. It's like having a war where soldiers are dying on the front. If you don't have troops to replenish the front lines, you got a problem. And that's what the stem cells do. They literally provide, in a sense, a constant supply of new cells for all the various tissues of the body. But this evolution has really followed a pattern. The pattern was this. We were persuaded that since cells make organs, organs make tissues, tissues make bodies, if we get good healthy cells, we'll make healthy organs, which will form healthy tissues and healthy bodies. So the focus was, what can we do for the cells to feed them? Give them what they need and they'll be healthy, and then they'll produce healthy organs and healthy tissues and healthy bodies. What we didn't stop to think about was this, and this is really evolution, that now we've come to realize that, look, you could keep feeding the troops, supplying the troops, arming the troops, equipping the troops, providing for the troops, but they'll die. And eventually you need new troops. You need some way of replenishing, repairing, restoring the activity on the front line. And that's why stem cells, in a sense, is the pièce de résistance. For me, it is the leading or the cutting edge of nutrition and supplementation today, undoubtedly. Why? Stem cells are held in the bone marrow. If you think of it, you could consider the cells to be held by adhesive in the bone marrow. If you were to block the adhesive, the thing that holds the stem cells, then they would leave more freely. Well, that's exactly what AFA does. AFA blocks this L-selectin that is like it basically provides this adhesive in the bone marrow, thereby facilitating, supporting, enhancing the release of the stem cells from the bone marrow. And in fact, we now know clinically, verified and published, that when AFA is consumed, there is a mild but significant increase, in fact 25 to 30% increase in the level of the stem cells in a normal individual. That's amazing, because each of these stem cells can proliferate, differentiate, and become cells of other tissues. And so AFA provides us with this convenient handle, if you like, that we can actually enhance our stem cells, support our stem cells, and then get increased benefit from all the things that stem cells do. And remember, stem cells, we all have them. We all use them every day, and they work every time.